Hello and welcome to the PolyTools channel. Today I wanted to talk about what are some of the meta trends I'm seeing in the content creator world. I've talked about some of this on the Creator Spotlight podcast, and on top of that, just some of the regular how to be a creator videos I've made. However, I'm seeing some trends. I went to a couple conferences this year, and so I wanted to kind of talk about some of the trends I've seen that maybe I haven't talked about, or I just reiterated in case you missed some of the other stuff. So this is a way you can see it all at once. Now, the first trend I want to mention is that the broadcast world and the creator world are starting to mix quite a bit. So I went to NAB, National Association of Broadcasting, earlier this year, and it was really interesting seeing these broadcast companies really get excited about these different content creators and how they make content. And content creators are starting to get higher and higher production level that they basically become broadcast studios themselves. And that was something that was, it's not a big deal, it's not a huge trend, but it was really interesting. Ooh, that light changed quite a bit. So this is my mobile studio for full disclosure. I'm not necessarily used to it. I'm actually using the mic really for the first time, so it's kind of nice. However, the lighting, the camera quality, not that great. I tried to bring a webcam, didn't work. Back to the point. Another trend, probably one of the biggest ones that I'm seeing that's really cool, is this idea of multi-streaming. However, vertical and horizontal. You're not just doing one or the other. Nowadays, when people wanted to multi-stream, they would use Restream.io or even Streamlabs or even just a multi-RMTP plugin on OBS to stream to Twitch, Rumble, Kick, and YouTube all at once. Now we're kind of seeing some people do like TikTok and Instagram vertically both at the same time. And now YouTube Shorts has vertical live streaming. And so you can stream to all three at once. And what's really interesting, what's the real meta trend, I've only really seen Pokemon YouTubers do this and maybe gaming YouTubers in general, but no one else in any other niche is really doing it yet. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people will eventually, is this idea of multi-streaming to vertical and horizontal at the same time. And right now there's only two tools that can do it. But so basically speaking, you have a horizontal stream going to, let's say, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, whatever platform you want, LinkedIn. And then you have the vertical stream, which you're doing to TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. And so they're posting to YouTube at the same time, but one is horizontal, one is vertical. And the two tools that can do it are Streamlabs Multi-Stream, and that's probably at the moment the best, just because it can support the restream capability where you just basically have two streams on your computer doing one vertical, one horizontal, and then it does the rest for you, and it splits it for you to all the different platforms. And then the other one that gives you a lot more control probably. I still need to play around with it, like full disclosure, so I'm not saying either one is better than the other, but from what I can tell, Atom multi-stream. So it kind of takes the place of the multi-RMT plugin on OBS, especially since it allows you for vertical. Using Atom's other plugin, the vertical plugin on OBS, you can have your vertical canvas and your horizontal canvas. And then using that multi-stream plugin for them, it allows you to send it to all the different platforms. However, from my understanding, it does not do the work of splitting it for you. You have to just send, 8 different streams out. So you have to have the bandwidth to do it. So if you have fiber internet, you can probably do that. But if you're like me and you only have, regular DSL kind of stuff, you probably can't. I mean, you might even struggle with sending out just 2 streams at a high quality. So we don't know for sure, and it's going to take more experimentation, but I just wanted to mention that. There's also another tool that came out recently called Screen Studio that people are raving about, but it is Mac only, and so I don't really care that much myself, but I just want to mention it. The other things I'll mention are the trends happening in like the podcasting world. So there's still kind of the situation of people, do they know what a podcast is? Do they actually like listen to podcasts? And then are they actively like listening and engaging with podcasters? And so there's kind of different layers. And there's some people just don't know what a podcast is at all. And that's kind of surprising to me considering how long podcasts have been around, like literally 20 years at this point. But I understand that not everyone has the time to listen to a podcast, even if you can just multitask with them anyways. So some of the trends happening in a podcast world is that a lot of podcasts, or most podcasts, are going the video route. So they have the video feed and the audio feed at the same time. And then there's also dynamic ad insertion, which is going to be kind of interesting. I think it's been around for a minute or so, but more and more tools and more companies are starting to get around this idea. So you have the pre-roll ad, the mid-roll ad, and the post-roll ad. So before the show, in the middle of the show, after the show. And from my understanding, you're able to take an ad you have a sponsor produce, or you produce it yourself, depending on how the sponsorship works, and then you can dynamically insert it into your podcasts, meaning old episodes could probably have new sponsors. And I think that's really interesting. Recently, what I did on my two main YouTube channels, the Poly Tools and PolyInnovator YouTube channels, is I went through every single video and re-added my affiliate links. So I had the modern versions of the links. So even some videos that didn't have them now have them, which is kind of nice, because if someone goes back to those old videos, decides, oh, I kind of like what they're talking about, let me see what tools they're using, cool. So there's a few different trends happening right now, and I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I wanted to mention in this video. But I definitely think that there is this idea that you need to start with just one content type, written, audio, or video, and get good at it. Do 100 reps with it, then move on to the next one and then the next one. However, I think a lot of people don't realize just how much time that takes. And I really can stand behind this idea that every creator should have, in some form, all three content types, whether it's a newsletter or a full-on blog, whether it's a YouTube channel or just TikTok, whether it's a podcast, or maybe you're just making music, I don't know, some kind of audio, essentially, and really trying to be across the board multi-format. You are meeting your fans where they might want to be. So they might be more of an audio listener, they might be more visual, they might be just more readers by nature. By meeting them where they are at, you get a much bigger content ecosystem, and that's what's really key. However, like I said, it takes a long time to do those 100 reps for each one, and you really can't do all three at once at the beginning. Like, you can maybe do two at the same time. So once you did, like, let's say you start off with YouTuber, you get good at that. Maybe you can start a podcast and a newsletter. In fact, maybe the newsletter is just a podcast transcription or something like that. But for the most part, that still is actually kind of pushing the line too much. And my whole other channel is about being multidisciplinary and juggling many different things. And even I'm saying that you probably can't do that. You're probably going to need to focus on getting good at that. You got to take the serialized approach. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I wanted to leave this video at, just the meta of the content creator world.